I always find it fascinating that uniforms show rank, and your uniform shows your status as well. I kind of like the idea of what you're wearing speaks for you. You haven't got to address yourself. So how FOXDALE started, there's a predecessor to FOXDALE, which is my clothing that my brother and myself started when we was in school. So I was like 16, 15, and now he's 2 years younger. So we started that in school, like 2011, 2012, just like getting blanks and printing on them. Then I started dabbling and messing around with cotton, so I didn't really like all the blanks that you could get. There wasn't a lot available. I start uni now, 2013. We stopped doing maths because of time. There wasn't really much time to work on it, but I'm still like sewing in my spare time, just practicing. And then 2015 we started FOXDALE because we both wanted a brand again, and the name pays homage to my dad that passed in 2013. I feel the one piece of advice I've got for people that want to get into fashion in general, or they want to have a brand, the one thing I always tell them is, or ask them should I say, is why do you want to do it? Like, why do you have to do this? Because there's so many brands, there's so many designers out there, and if you're doing it just for the sake of having a brand, it's gonna flop. Or if you're doing it just because other people are doing it, it's gonna flop. Like, make sure that you're doing it because this is something you feel you have to do. Because then that way, if you feel like you have to do it, then when you have months or weeks where it's dry, or months where it's tough, because it is all just stress for the most part, that drive that you have to do it is the only thing that's going to keep you continuing. Like when you asked earlier, like what makes me motivated to keep doing it. I don't do nothing else. I don't want to do nothing else. So I mean, this is what I have to do. This is what I've brought on this world to do. So no matter how things turn or how long it takes to blow up or whatever, I'm gonna always just be doing this. Still, I'm not saying don't try anything, but just understand it's not easy. It is long. It is very long and tough. So you need something that's gonna keep you motivated, besides just the sake of doing it because everyone else is doing it. For the most part, my process is the exact same each time. It's I get an idea, I'll take one of my sketchbooks and I'll draw it. That's step one. If the idea looks good, because sometimes I'll sketch it and it doesn't look good from what I thought it was, so I leave it. If it does look good, step two, I'll go in Illustrator and I'll draw the CAD version of it. And the CAD is just like a line drawing that I could then manipulate colours and fabric and whatever on there, just so I can make it look more real. Once I've done that, step three is make the pattern, which is what I've been doing today. So get a paper out, trace around either an existing piece or an existing pattern to make the pieces. And then step four, once I've chose what fabric I'm using, make the sample, or sometimes I'll just make the final piece depending on if it's for me or someone else, but most of the time make the sample to check the fit, and then once you make the sample, then make the final piece. The way I feel about FOXDALE is like, it's the extra layer that I'll put on before I leave the house, like a protective layer. So like protection, uniform, they're kind of the main like themes in the brand. Now I like routine, I think that's probably where it comes from. You know what you're putting on. I know what sort of silhouette and what pieces I just want to be in every day. So I feel like what I'm working on is now establishing my uniform of like, it's like maybe like 3 different outfits in like 100 different colours. And then obviously also the sci-fi influences, uniforms of characters, especially like stormtroopers, Mandalorians and things like that. It's like, I always find it fascinating that uniforms show rank, and your uniform shows your status as well. What you're wearing speaks for you. You haven't got to address yourself. I don't think FOXDALE has a message to, like, we have like philosophies that I'm building on constantly, going to keep evolving, but like the brand doesn't stand for anything. Like no like other causes besides I want garms and I don't want to buy nothing. That's the only message it will stand for. I don't think brands have to, because then you kind of like limit yourself to whatever your brand message is. Unless you're one of them people that is like an activist, or like you want to bring awareness to something, then that's noble, that makes sense. But I'm not that kind of person, so I'm literally just doing it because I like garms. There's other brands that have the same influences as well, but their output has just been digested differently. It gets to a point where if your whole thing is trying to be different, then how good would it end up actually being? Do you know what I mean? Because there's some different things that have not been done before in terms of like garments, but it's like, is there a reason it's not been done? Don't just do it because no one's done it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
so whenever you get into a creative slump, what are your methods to kind of get out of it?
Just stay in the slump, honestly. Like sometimes, like if you force an idea to come, whatever does come is going to be dead most of the time. or you just do it to work things through. The way that I went through a few slumps, like mid-COVID, straight after COVID, for like a month, 2 months at a time. I'll just let the slump happen, whether it's a creative slump, emotional slump, whatever. Just let it happen, and then it'll eventually like ride itself through. I'll still take inspiration, and I'll still watch my films. I'll still look at like fashion shows and catwalks. I'll still do that. I'll still like digest stuff, but I just won't have any output. So I'll take a break from output basically, and I'll let myself just be inspired again. Because a lot of people feel like you have to keep being productive and you have to keep having output, but you don't. Like I probably burn out a few times a year, but I'll know when they're gonna come, and I'll take that. And when they do happen, like whether it's in the form of a slump or I'll get ill or whatever, I'll just let the burnout happen, because it's you can't be 100% all the time. It's impossible. Family's always been a big source of support from the first brand to now. So wherever we did, they've always been supportive. So that motivates you to keep going forward. My brother is like my twin, so literally anything. Not that we always like the same stuff, but we're on the same wavelength with a lot of things. So like any idea he has, he thinks like the furthest it can go, sort of thing. So that also helps me want to think bigger and bigger. Like he'll come with ideas, I ain't got a clue how to make them yet, but I can work it through and get it done. Do you know what I mean? So he's like the big thinker, I'd say. I like to think of the details and how things work. The dream was always to work for ourselves, so I feel like we're working towards that now. Do you know what I mean? So the idea is that FOXDALE will be the only thing that we do, whether we do other things under it, but the brand will be everything. That's the end goal. So I feel like, yeah, we did always think it would be like that.